Hey guys, and welcome back to Emerald Coast. We're in day 3 of early winter, and I've got a surprise for you. That's right, we have got ourselves another upgrade. Let's just take a look at her here. Bought out the big beast. Big Case International 9190. Big boy. We're going to use him today to do some plowing. Got dual wheels on here so that we can minimize our pressure on the field, minimize the potential for compaction and everything. And we've got ourselves a big Case disc back here doing the plowing for us. I know some folks may come back and say that's not a plow. And all of this other fun stuff, but I can tell you that I was watching a video by Big Tractor Power the other day, and they were showing a farm in Kentucky that was preparing their fields for winter wheat. What are we doing here? Basically, kind of preparing our fields for winter wheat. And for some reason plow isn't working at the moment. At any rate, what they were using was a they were using a big John Deere 9R. Let's do this. They're using a big John Deere 9R because, you know, obviously this is 2018 and everything. And we are focused on the a different era here with respect to our Emerald Coast gameplay. So we're focusing on the 80s and 90s at the earliest or latest, I would say. But they were using 9Rs and a disc that looked similar to this. Obviously, it wasn't the exact same thing, but it looked similar to this, and they were running it over the field right after corn harvest and knocking the corn stubble down and working it into the ground. And then they were coming in behind that big disc with a harrow to basically smooth out the chunks, so to speak, to make planting with the air drill more successful, because the air drill would have a hard time getting through big clops and stumps of dirt. So when I saw that, then I was kind of vindicated in my plans on how I was going to plow these fields with this big Case disc and the big Case International here. It has no trouble at all plowing with this big disc in 9 miles an hour. Nice and comfortable. Up here in the big cab. So we've got lots of work to do. You know, not only today, but in the next few days. You can see we've got 2 more days of dry weather. We just came out of a wet crop condition as a result of some rain that we had, I think, on the 2nd day of winter. But we just came out of a wet crop condition. I would like to see if we can't get our fields plowed and cultivated. We're only going to plow the fields that need plowing, which are only going to be the new fields that we bought. What is the deal here? It's only going to be the new fields that we purchased this last year. So let's just freeform this. So that would include fields 9, 12, and 16. We also would need to plow field 1, but of course we've got a winter wheat crop in that field, so we don't want to mess with that at the moment. So today we're just going to spend the day plowing rest of 10, 12, and 16. Then tomorrow we'll probably come out and work up all the fields with our cultivator, and then come right behind that cultivator with our seeder on the fields that we are going to seed. But like I said, I think the plan is going to be to leave some of these fields unplanted for winter in expectation of planting sunflowers in late spring and planting corn in late spring, or basically whenever the corn can be planted. I kind of forget based on the geo when I can put corn in the ground. But we also have sugarcane we need to harvest at some point this winter. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to it until day 8 or 9. It kind of depends on how well we can get our stuff planted and everything. Of course, we also have the rain there to deal with. And at the same time, you know, we've got crops to sell when, you know, the price is right and the market is ready. And we've got crops we need to get in the ground. Not get in the ground, but get out of our silos and get into the over to the market. Grain dealer. That's what we're looking at so far for winter. In fact, I don't know if we're going to have time to get in the woods or not. Maybe toward late winter we'll have time to get up into the woods to clear out some more of those trees that CSX had contracted us out to work on last year. They knew that it wasn't going to be a one-year deal, that we weren't going to be able to get all that done. But, you know, we've quickly expanded to the point where, you know, we're not looking for stuff to do over winter. We've got ourselves plenty to do over winter. And we may work ourselves over the winter and realize that we've got some days in spring that we can take advantage of. But if we're going to sell all of those wood chips and all of the crops that we've got in our bins, that's quite a lot of trips to the mill. So that's going to take us several days itself. The sugarcane harvest is going to take, gosh, I'm really dreading that sugarcane harvest. That's probably going to be at least a full day, if not 2 days, to bring that in. And like I said, we're going to go straight to market on that. And one of the reasons I'm not really looking forward to that harvest is we're going to pretty much have to buy all kinds of specialty equipment just for the purpose of that harvest. We're going to have to lease a harvester. We're going to have to lease a couple trailers, probably a smaller field trailer, and then a large semi-transport trailer, or maybe 2 semi-transport trailers to haul the crop off to market. There's the lone tree stalk, or not tree stalk, corn stalk that we appear to have forgotten about and left. Like I said, this thing is just pulling through this ground like there's no tomorrow. We've got plenty of power to pull this big disc. We've got a big case cultivator also to use on this big international tractor. And, you know, to some degree, I was worried I would have to bring this thing out early when that John Deere was having problems with the compost spreader. The other video, I was kind of worried I'd have to bring this thing out in order just to spread compost. But thankfully, that New Holland tractor was able to do that without any issue. And speaking of compost, that 19,000 liters of compost didn't only do field 19. We then took it up to down to field 16, then brought it over to 12, then 10, and then while we were done 10, we went ahead and took it over to our over to field 2. Then while we were at it, we went ahead and applied compost to the triangle grass field, and not to be outdone, we went and took and put compost on our big grass field, and we still have compost left in the spreader. So compost is definitely a good thing to be using to fertilize your fields here on Emerald Coast. Sure, you could sell that compost, but quite frankly, the amount of money that we've spent, or we would be spending on fertilizer is nowhere's even close to what we are. I mean, we would spend more money on fertilizer than we would probably make on selling that amount of compost, as opposed to spreading the compost on the fields. If you know what I'm talking about. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, we may have gone through maybe 10 or 11,000 liters of compost to fertilize all of those fields. You know, and if we probably would have earned $2 a liter, maybe, let's say we earned even $3 a liter. I've not seen compost sell for $3 a liter. But let's just say we earned $3 a liter. And I'm thinking right now, I really shouldn't have plowed the outside edge like this. But it's okay. We're going to come back through and cultivate it, and that should get rid of any compaction we are introducing as a result of driving over this plowed ground. But at any rate, so even if we got $3 a liter and we used 11,000 liters, okay, we would have earned $33,000 on that compost. And I'm holding to the fact that I'm confident that we would have spent more than $33,000 in fertilizer, even at the bulk rates, up at the fertilizer dealer, to fertilize all of these fields. Now, maybe that's not the case, but darn it, if it doesn't seem like it was a bad idea at this point to use that compost. It'd be another thing if we went through a couple 100,000 liters of compost, you know, or if we had to fill that the compost spreader 5 or 6 times in order to get all these fields done. But we didn't have to do that. Filled it once, and then we were done. And we could probably go through and fertilize most of these fields yet again with the compost that's still in it. So, you see our money amounts are up. I did go ahead and sell the rest of the compost that we did have as a result of putting the manure into the compost mixer master. So that did give us a little boost on our bank account. But we're definitely going to need that money when it comes time to do the sugarcane harvest. Like I said, we're going to need to either buy, we're going to need to take out a loan and either buy the harvester and buy the trailers that we're going to need in order to do the harvest, and then sell them back at the end, or to just lease the equipment and just return it when we're done. Because there's no reason to hold on to that equipment with basically a sugarcane harvest every 1.5 to 2 years. So That's the plan, and we're going to do it at some point this winter. Just don't know when it's going to work out. I kind of want to have our field work all said and done before we get to that point. Let's see if we can unrealistically just leave the plow down and come back through here. See if we can do GPS again. Make it work a little bit better. Let's shrink. That might have been part of the problem. Is the working width. Was maybe being detected too wide for this plow. Alright, I just wanted to get in cab a little bit as opposed to always driving in behind us. Look at that, we've got a radio with a cassette deck in here. Huh. Watch our mini-map update, and poof, all of that yellow goes away. And you can see a little bit of pink is going to be popping up here as we drive over the plowed area. That's okay. When we come back through here to cultivate, it's going to negate that pink. And I was surprised. This case comes in 3 flavors: single, duals, or triples. And I tried all 3. I took the singles, which are big fat Y tires, dropped the air pressure all the way down to as low as it will go, and it was telling me I would do light compaction. I put on duals, and the duals are a little narrower in width than the duals are a little bit narrower in width than the singles, and it still said you know, light compaction, and these are definitely wider. The singles came out a little bit wider than these first row of tires did. Maybe about to where the second tire starts. So the duals are a little narrower, but they're wider overall because there's 2 sets of tires on each side. It still came back as listed as being light compaction. So then I thought, well, let's put on the triples and see what happened. And the triples are a little bit wider than this, but the triples themselves are narrower. And the triples still came back, even with the tire pressure all the way down, as causing light compaction. So I thought, well, you know what, the doubles don't look too bad. The triples looked a little silly in their appearance. So I thought, well, we'll just go with the doubles. We don't have to worry about any narrow gates to get in through, so we don't have to worry about the doubles being too wide. If that was the case, then I would just have kept the singles on. Look at that, we got 80. We've closed out the year with 84 pigs. I think that's about the number I was expecting. I think maybe at one point in time I was projecting maybe 83 pigs. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that was just all in my head, but I really wasn't projecting that. But yeah, we got 84 pigs. And who knows how many pigs we're going to have at the end of next year. At some point, we're going to stop just reproducing pigs, and we're going to start selling them off. Maybe when we get up to 150 or maybe 200, we'll just kind of see how long it takes before it seems that it's too much upkeep on our pigs. And at that point, maybe sell them down. Thinking 141 cows is right there on the fringe of being too many. At least too many for our cow pasture to support without having to do supplemental grass feedings. So, you know, if that's the case, if we're going to have to supplemental grass feedings, then I'm going to have to either think about, you know, do I really want to do that? Or do I want to sell down our cows, maybe drop them to 125 and just have a lower milk output, but you know, but not have to worry about giving them grass all the time. And I think our sheep, we could probably double our sheep up to 200 without too much hassle, because sheep overall don't take near as much grass as cows. So I think we could probably support 200, maybe 225, maybe even 250 sheep. We'll just have to see. I'm not going to sell sheep off. I'm just going to let them keep breeding and keeping that number climbing till we either, one, run into a scenario where we've, you know, lost the grass and we've got to supplement feed them, or two, the wool production is a bit more than we are willing to keep up with. But I don't think they're going to outproduce our wool to the point where we're not willing to keep up with the wool production. But we'll have to see how that goes. I'm looking at the PDA. I'm a little surprised I'm not seeing there. I'm seeing more pink on that side. Okay. Surprised I wasn't seeing so much pink on the side we were just on. But it did just update, so that makes sense. So today in Farm Sim 19 news, there was a dev blog post about character customization. I'll give you a little bit of a clue as how far ahead I'm recording these at this point. That's because here in about a week and a half, I'm going to be gone for a week and not be able to record anything. I want to make sure that there is videos out there for you all to get. And so when this video actually airs, I will be on kind of a vacation. I won't be producing content during that week at all. But at any rate, the dev blog today was all about character customization. And apparently there's going to be 4 male characters and 4 female farm characters. Of course, with Farm Sim 17, there's only one of each for you to pick. And the only customization you have is to select the color plaid shirt that the farmer has. But in 19, we're apparently going to be able to pick up 4 different male farmers, 4 different female farmers. We're going to be able to select their shirt color again. Again, it will be a shade of plaid. Apparently on the males, they could wear this leather vest looking jacket. But for some interesting reason, females don't get the option of wearing a jacket. Not sure about that. You can wear a hat, or you can not wear a hat. If you like to put a hat on, then there are hats of all kinds of various equipment brands that are in the game. So if you are a case guy, you could wear a case hat. Or a Fent guy, you could wear a Fent hat, and so forth. The other customization, interesting enough, is you could give your guys sunglasses or not. So your farmer could be, you know, cool John, wearing himself some mirror shades in the tractor. So that's kind of interesting. The customization choices that they made. Why females can have jackets, but males can have jackets. Why they selected to let you have the option of wearing a hat or not, versus maybe having different hairstyles. Now, of course, it looks like the 4 male and 4 female characters have different hairstyles themselves, but there are other variants, you know, other facial changes, different facial types, different skin tones, and whatnot. But it's interesting that you can't, you don't have like a half dozen or more different hairstyle choices. I think that would be a fairly easy thing to model. You just, everybody's head is generally the same general shape, and you just plop a different hairstyle on a farmer. But yeah, the only thing you can choose is to wear sunglasses or not. If you're a male, wear a vest or not. What your general character looks like out of 4, different farmer options, and if you wear a hat or not. It will be interesting to see. The dead blog post only showed, I think, 4 pictures out of 8. There were 2 male models and maybe 2 female models shown, but we're still missing, 2 males and 2 females from that options. Maybe we have seen those characters already if we go back and look at some of these early preview Farm Sim 19 videos. I have noticed that lots of these videos have different looking farmers in them, so it may be possible that we've already seen not all 8, because I don't think we've seen 8 videos, but we may have seen some of the characters that we are missing from the blog post already in some of these early preview videos. We're making pretty quick work here of field 12. I think we can definitely probably get field 16 done before the end of the day, before it gets too terrible dark. Tractor does have a nice set of work lights, both front and back, should we need to work into the evening to get these fields plowed up. But I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. That'll be super awesome. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. We do Let's Play videos here on Emerald Coast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are nearing the end of our 2nd game year. Only 7 more game years to go, I guess, or I guess 8, depends on how you count them. If you include the game year that we are on or not. So we're still fairly early into our 8 years of gameplay, but we have advanced quite a bit from the very first episode where we rolled into town with our C10 pickup truck and a chainsaw and an empty pocket. But it's all fun and exciting to see where year 3 is going to bring us. So until next time, guys, happy farming.